Hey, boob.
Yay! I'm so happy. We have microphones now, everybody.
Yeah, officially.
I'm so excited. I hope that they sound good. I I spent a lot of money on mine, so if it doesn't sound good, please don't tell me in the
Don't
comments.
please. She'll cry really hard.
Or tell
I
me within 30 days, I think. No, yeah,
mm,
30 days so then I can return it for the
there
free.
we go.
But or maybe like 15. I don't know. I feel like I've had it for anyway.
Yeah, I was really blessed. Charlie already had this. My boyfriend Charlie already had this. So, well, hello everybody. I'm
Hi everyone.
I'm Katie.
I'm Dia, live from our apartments.
It's
It's Twilight
Twilight tonight.
tonight. Bow, 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 bow. Bow,
We're
bow.
here. We're ready.
Yes. I'm wearing a vampire-y looking necklace for those listening. It has
Yeah,
like
you look.
pearls and like red stuff.
I love it. I'm wearing a sweater.
Yes. It is very chilly recently. I had to
It's
turn on the
so
heat finally.
cold. Yeah, we turned on the heat and I've got the fucking the portable, the space heater going
Yes.
because Bia knows she used to live in this room. We have a sunroom and it's obviously literally full of windows on three of the sides and it gets so cold in here. So I'm bundled up.
It is freezing in
Um,
that room.
so
I don't know why
yeah,
they created it like that. Like it's literally
you
in
know,
Boston.
we just need better windows. I think the windows are old. But it's okay.
Oh,
You know, it is
maybe
what it
that's it.
is. No one really sleeps in here anymore, so it's okay. Everything's okay.
You're right.
Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well.
Yes.
It,
Editing, I know that we haven't been posting every week, but thank you for sticking with us. Since the last time we spoke, some big things have happened.
some big, really terrible things have happened. Donald Trump was elected. So it's been a week. No, it's been a
You
week.
are cutting
And a
out.
week. Sorry.
Technical
I
difficulties.
know I set it up myself this time, so I am just like I could, I want to make sure everything's okay. But yeah, the election sucks. Everything has been sucky recently. So
Yeah.
also, Bia is our editor, and that's really hard on her, and we love her for that. But she's gonna come over to my house this weekend
Yes.
and show me some editing tricks
Yes.
because I need it. I need to
Hey,
help her, and I think
people
I'm gonna
hate
do
editing.
I think of it, I could enjoy it, especially if I'm maybe doing the easy part and you do the hard part. So I think that's like the I not maybe not easy part, but the scrubbing and you add in all the fun effects and stuff. Because Bia went to film school. I didn't. I was a communication major.
I did really like editing and people don't like editing. And I also did Minecraft editing and got some really good tips from that guy. Even though I did get fired over Discord, I feel like you got to get fired over Discord once, right?
Yeah,
To make it in
absolutely.
this town.
That's okay. So, Bia, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What Twilight character best represents your week this
Oh
week?
my gosh, Katie. Wow. I love that question. And you know what's crazy? Even though I wrote it down and I was thinking about it, well, I wasn't thinking about it. That's what I meant to say. And I don't know what character best represents my week. Let's see. How was my week? Kind of crazy. Honestly, I feel like Carlisle because I feel Dr. Carlisle, Dr. Carlisle Cullen. I feel like him because I have just been in charge of everything, just doing everything, like taking care of people, bringing the sick back to life. Like, I've just been doing the damn thing, and I feel like he's a doctor and he's the town doctor. I feel is he like the only doctor in Forks? That's what it seems like. Um, there's a couple of
He's
nurses.
just the best. Everyone's like, why is he even here? Like Charlie literally is like he could be anywhere, but he's here, and everyone needs to appreciate that shit. And he's right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's so right.
yeah, and he's hot.
Whew. Yeah. And Charlie agrees with that too.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I feel like Carlisle this week. How about
Okay.
you?
I feel okay, so this is where I told Bia I had a little like rant that I wanted to
Oh
share
my
with
God, I'm so
everybody, and
excited.
this is where this is gonna come in. So I feel like all of the vampires because I I don't hate the sun. You have to roll with me, okay? Just come with me on this journey. I don't hate the sun. I love the sun. However, it is getting dark at 4:30 now in New England. So
Yes.
I have been trying to put up some lights in my home, and I used to have incandescent twinkle lights or whatever, like Christmas lights up. And
What
the
the heck is
incandescent
incandescent?
I'll give me 1 second. So there's incandescent and LEDs. Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
there's incandescents and there's LEDs. LEDs are the new ones that save you energy, and they're like, but a lot of LEDs are like that like weird like blue white scary light,
Yeah.
okay? So I had incandescent Christmas lights up in my room for a long time. I have them up in my living room. I love it. It's like a nice warm glow. However, they're not like safe-ish because they get
Oh.
warm. Like they're
Oh.
safe, they're fine. I had them up for years, like I never had an issue. But like technically on the box it says like for decoration only, like gets warm, like just like be careful. So I bring home some Christmas lights to put up in our house, and most of them are LEDs because I was like, oh yeah, that's the one that's good. But I grabbed some incandescents because they were like, I think they were cheaper or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
And I
catch
bring
on
them.
fire easier. You know, my theory is that probably home insurance companies are
Hmm,
making incandescent lights and making them cheaper.
still making them. Yeah. Well, you can't even buy bulbs anymore. Like you can't buy incandescent bulbs anymore. You can't produce them. It's illegal because Joe Biden did that. Thank you, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, wake up.
Because LEDs are better,
Joe
but
Biden.
you can still do you can still have them in like small like wattages or something. I don't know. I did a lot of research on this because I'm fucking pissed about it. So basically, I bought these incandescents back, and Charlie was like, "Oh, like baby, we probably shouldn't have the incandescents. They're not safe." And I was like, I threw a fucking fit. I was like, but they look so much better. Like,
Don't tell me what kind of
well,
lights to buy.
I was just like, I don't want to fucking go return these because I hate Target. I don't want to go back to Target. Like, please don't make me go back. Well, I do like Target, but it's a hole in there and you just get sucked in.
Oh my
So
God. No, we spent like almost $200 and we went to get like rice and coffee. I don't know
literally,
what happened.
it's exhausting. So I was just like, I really don't want to go back. I don't want to fucking have to return these. But he's right at the end of the day. He is right. So I went back and I got the LEDs. And what I should have done before I did this is like check them out, see what they look like. Because I got the warm white option. Okay. They look like shit. They look terrible. I get home, I put them, they all look terrible. I hate them so much. They all look awful. They're not that bright. Literally, I have them right here. I don't think it'll show up on camera.
Oh my God, they do.
I hate them. I hate them,
Yeah,
okay? They're
mediocre.
warm white. No. I want yellow. I want them to be fucking yellow, basically. Orange, warm glow. It's terrible. I hate it. I just want lighting in my home because it's dark at 4:30. So that's my rant. I'm pissed at the lights, okay? And that's my metaphor for being the vampires because they're pissed at the sun, okay? That's that's what character best represents my week, and that's my rant. I'm sorry, everybody. I fucking hate LED Christmas lights and also the multicolor ones. I got multicolor ones, expecting them to be the beautiful ones that my mother used to put on our Christmas tree. No, they're terrible. They're ugly. They're blue and they're ugly and terrible. Okay, I'm done.
What
I
color
hate
Christmas
them.
lights were you expecting other than blue?
Like the
Like,
incandescent ones, like okay, so they're not all blue, but they have that just like blue
mm,
tint. Like they're just like the weird LED, like and the blue ones are so bright. It's like blue, purple, green, orange, or like red and yellow or something. So it's like the normal lights. And it was just bad. It was just not good. It doesn't bring me that like warm and fuzzy nostalgia. It's just gross and digital.
yes,
Okay, that's my
I
rant. I'm sorry, I'm done. That was so long.
don't apologize because that's a really good rant and it makes a good point of the warm and fuzzy. I feel like When we lived together in college, we didn't have that. And I don't know if you remember, but we had purple lights lining the hallway.
Oh, in our
Um,
dorm. Oh my God,
and
yeah.
then you would walk into the dorm and it would just be like this red,
Like pink,
purple hallway of
purple, yeah.
doom. Uh, and those were LEDs. So I feel
Mm.
like, yeah, it sort of a similar vibe where, you're walking
But
into
the
just
ones that we, sorry, not to interrupt you.
no, the ones that
The
we had
ones
in our
that we
room.
had, yeah,
Yeah. They were warm and cozy and fuzzy, and we had our little fuzzy carpet, and it was just, ah, I loved
yeah.
it.
I loved it so much. Yeah. So that's my rant. I'm glad that you agree. And yeah, okay. Y'all, this chapter though.
Before,
Oh.
before we get into the chapter, last time we left off with the boys in the chapter, not the boys in Twilight, not really getting the memo about what
Oh my
girl's
God.
choice means. Bella got asked out by Mike, Eric, and Tyler all on the same day. And we also got a brief mention of Lauren, the one
Mm.
character that isn't, really
In the
in the
friend group
movies.
that, yeah, that's just like not
Yeah.
included.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Bella decides that she's gonna go spend the night of the dance or the day of the dance in Seattle with Edward. Well, because, he invites himself. He like comes up to her and he's like, "Do you want to go to Seattle with me?" And she was like, "What?" Like not
How,
did
because he just listens to her fucking conversations. Well, I guess she said it in front of Mike at in their fucking class in biology.
Mhm.
However, he is just so funny for that. So funny for that.
And he sort of invites her because he's like, "Oh yeah, I was meaning to go there anyway, so do you want to drive together?" And she was like, "Well, I can make it on my own." And he was like, "Well, it's just gonna save gas. It's better for the environment if we go together." And now we're on to a chapter 5, blood type.
We did not really take notes for this chapter, y'all. So fingers crossed, we're kind of winging it, but I think that it's gonna be awesome. I have a lot of faith in us.
I do too. I think while I was listening and reading the chapter at the same time, shout out to the people that make audiobooks
Mm,
on YouTube and they just post like chapter 5 of Twilight.
it's
Y'all,
beautiful.
if you don't have the books with you and you want to sort of keep up to date, with what we're reading exactly, check out those little audiobooks.
Boom.
There you go. But
But
yes.
yeah.
So we start off, Bella is still trying to recover from that experience, and she's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. And she goes to English class, and she's so in a daze that she actually is walking into English class late, and the teacher's like, "Oh, thank you for joining us." And she's so embarrassed, so she, goes to sit in her seat. She says, "It wasn't until class ended that I realized Mike wasn't sitting in his usual seat next to me. I felt a twinge of guilt."
I wrote next to Mike not sitting in his usual seat. I wrote good. Go away, Mike. He's so annoying. Oh my God, I'm so annoyed at him from last chapter. He cannot take the fucking hint.
It's really ridiculous and it's honestly disrespectful to Jessica because he's going to the dance. It's not like he's not going to the dance and like Bella told him to, suck it.
Yeah.
He's going to the dance with a beautiful girl.
Exactly. And he's just a little bitch about everything. I mean, they end up still meeting her at the door. They still fucking walk her down the fucking hallway or whatever. And Mike
Yeah.
won't shut up about this damn beach trip, okay? It's cold. Bella literally is like, it's gonna be maybe in the 40s, like high 40s, even if it's not raining. I'm sorry, I know it's beautiful. I don't want to go to the windy beach when it's 45 degrees.
No, the ocean makes more wind, and I that is why people go to Cape Cod during the summer and not the
August.
winter. Like,
Exactly.
excuse me? Yeah. And Bella says that the rest of the morning passes in a blur because she just keeps thinking about her interaction with Edward. And she mentions, his eyes were mesmerizing, I don't know, very intense during their interaction. She says, maybe it was just a very convincing dream that I'd confused with reality. That seemed more probable than that I really appealed to him on any level. Wow.
She's so insecure, dog, and I get it. He's been so hot and cold. Like I really can't blame her. I don't
And
know. She like okay, so she goes into the cafeteria with Jessica. She says that she's impatient and frightened as she enters the cafeteria because she's just like she's so anxious to see him, you know?
oh my gosh, you remember that feeling when you have a crush and you're
Oh
on
my
the bus
God.
and you're like turning the corner onto the school? And yeah, my throat is like in my pants. I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like I having like a class with a crush, that was always the like, oh my
Yes.
God, I'm sitting two desks down, I'm terrified. And we'd see that so much in this, obviously, with her fucking being lab partners with Edward.
Yeah.
Edward. I don't know if his name is so formal. It's just so funny to me. But
And
yeah, Jessica's babbling along. She literally is so I literally wrote mean. Okay, they're both just like mean to each other. Jessica's a little bitch to her, and Bella just hates everyone. Jessica babbled on and on about her dance plans. Lauren and Angela had asked the other boys, and they were all going together, completely unaware of my inattention. We get it. You don't care about these people that you hang out with. Like, we understand.
you killed it. I mean, yeah, absolutely. The like Bella is so mean. And she continues to talk about how Jessica, babbles on. But as Jessica's babbling, she notices the Cullen table and she sees that there are only four there. So Edward is not there. And Bella's like, oh my God, did he go home? She says, I followed the still babbling Jessica through the line, crushed. I'd lost my appetite. I bought nothing but a bottle of lemonade. I just wanted to go sit down and sulk. Oh my
Girl,
God.
she's so fucking dramatic.
Oh my God. But
And then
then,
Jessica goes, Edward Cullen is staring at you again. And then she goes, I wonder why he's sitting alone today. Jaw drops. He's
oh my
sitting
gosh.
alone?
Jessica said, finally breaking through my abstraction with his name. So, okay, we get
She's
it.
obsessed with Edward.
It is the
There's a
only
lot
thing
of
that she
like,
thinks about.
there's a lot of like, oh my God, Edward's beautiful. Oh my God, I'm mesmerized in this chapter. It is kind of like, oh my God, okay. I followed her gaze to see Edward, smiling crookedly, staring at me from an empty table across the cafeteria from where he usually sat. Once he'd caught my eye, he raised one hand and motioned with his index finger for me to join him. As I stared in disbelief, he winked. That motherfucker. Via is really acting this out right now. I do feel like if Edward wasn't like a sexy ass man, none of this is working. None of it's working. Okay. He's just weird and annoying. But he's hot and mysterious, so I get it.
Yeah, when I was reading this part, I literally gasped out loud when
Me
I
too. I
read
wrote
that he
OMG.
I wrote gasp on mine. Because I was just like, oh my God, he's asking. And Jessica goes, does he mean you? Jessica asked with insulting astonishment in her voice.
Like they're both just fucking rude to each other. They're both just like they both just don't like each
Like, Jessica, fucking yay. Like, I thought you liked
other.
Mike. What is this whole thing? Like, obviously, oh my
Well,
God.
it's just like Jessica. I mean, okay, I feel like in high school, everyone wants to be wanted. You want to be the
You're
most, you
right.
want to be the popular one. And it's also like obviously, right when Bella came to school, Jessica was telling her about everyone, and she was like, well, no one's good enough for him here.
Yeah.
Clearly, Bella is. Oh, 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 oh. I mean, I also get why, I think we talked about this in the last episode, but I get why Jessica is like is like iffy about Bella and kind of rude to her because Bella comes in, the guy she likes has a crush on her,
Yeah.
everyone has a crush on her,
Mhm.
Edward has a crush on her who has a crush on nobody. I'd be annoyed. I'd be a little pissed if I was fucking 16 years old. Yeah.
You're
So
right. You're right. Absolutely. I am so quick to just be like, oh my God, just relax. But you're right. I feel like I would feel the same way. And yeah, if nobody's good enough for Edward, but Bella is. Is Bella
Is better.
better? Is Bella better than anybody?
I had Charlie. Charlie brought me a glass of wine and Aquaphor because I needed it really bad.
That sounds so good.
He had to get wine for he's making mushroom sauce. We're having mushroom sauce pasta tonight. I'm really excited. And he brought me wine because we needed wine for it. So he got wine. Okay, that was my story.
Fuck, wait. Okay, so you have a fun little drink?
I do have a little glass of wine. I'm not gonna drink too much, obviously, but do you want to go get one real quick?
I don't have any wine. I'm so sad.
No, I'm sorry.
I'll have to ask AJ
I'm
to
I'm
bring home
really
some
not gonna
wine.
have too many sips because I don't I'm on an empty stomach right now and I would get
Mm,
fucked. This glass would make me tipsy.
I'm having some peanut M&Ms right now.
See, now I'm jealous
Grab
of
some.
you.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Anyway, where were we, everybody? So Jessica's being a bitch, and Edward has fucking what is it called? Motioned her
Fingered
over, fingered
her.
her over, fingered her over. And she says to Jessica, maybe he needs help with his biology homework. I muttered for her benefit. I better go see what he wants. I could feel her staring after me as I walked away.
Oh my gosh. And
She's
then yeah, oof. I like that she's still sort of trying to rationalize it. Like I genuinely think that that is her actual thought that he just needs help with biology homework. Because she's so smart and Edward Cullen would need help from her.
duh.
Um, yeah. And so she reaches the table and he goes, "Why don't you sit with me today?" I'm melting.
He gets away with all this because he's hot, but
Yeah.
there is definitely like and literally okay, this is another thing of Bella just gushing over him. She literally I sat down automatically, watching him with caution. He was still smiling. It was hard to believe that someone so beautiful could be real. I was afraid that he might disappear in a sudden puff of smoke, and I would wake up. Girl, calm down.
I don't think I've ever thought of anyone that way.
I- it's just so dramatic. It's so melodramatic. It's so funny. I'm obsessed with it.
It's
Um,
perfect. They sort of sit there in silence for a second because he's I assume looking at her and just like
it's like a
so
power trip.
yeah.
She goes, "This is different." I finally managed.
He says, "Well," he paused, and then the rest of the words followed in a rush. "I decided as long as I was going to hell, I might as well do it thoroughly."
Now let me say that. Can I just say that in a slightly like, let me just try it again. Well, I decided as long as I was going to hell, I might as well do it thoroughly. Like imagine if
If
some of the
Mike said these words,
if
then I
Mike
would be like,
exactly. If Mike said this, I would be vomiting. I would be vomiting everywhere. So that is sometimes where I have to take a step back and be like, okay, it's Edward. Just remember, it's okay. He's hot.
wow, yeah, wow.
Sorry. That's the only thing that I heard when I read that sentence.
Well, I have the audiobook, and so it's
Oh,
just a
that's
girl
really
reading it,
helpful.
and she doesn't do any sexy voices, but it helps me like enter the sexy voice. I don't know.
And then Bella's so funny. She says, I waited for him to say something that made sense. The seconds ticked by. That's so funny.
She is very funny. I literally wrote down LOL after, I don't have any idea what you mean. I eventually pointed out. And then he says, "I know." He smiled again, and then he changed the subject. "I think your friends are angry with me for stealing you." So, one, he has this little inside joke with himself that we don't really understand. And
Also, he's hinting at it so much.
yeah,
It's
there's a
crazy.
lot of this in this chapter.
Yeah. What was your number two? Sorry.
Well, and number two is that he's pointing out what, her friends are thinking. And okay, maybe they're all looking back and, making faces at them.
Bella says they'll survive. I could feel their stares boring into my back. Do we just
And
want to read? I have a question.
yeah,
Should we just like read this exchange? Because it is like a kind of a back and forth between them. And like like maybe pause when I feel like sometimes it's just like there's a lot of dialogue here.
There is a
So
lot of
I feel
dialogue.
like
They
we
have
should
a
just
huge
maybe
conversation.
like we should just like go for it.
Okay, let's do it.
At least in chunks, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to be Edward or Bella?
I honestly don't care. Who do you want to be?
Um,
Who are you feeling like today?
Edward,
Okay. Okay.
you're my Bella.
Let's start from I think your friends are angry with me. Or
Yeah,
angry. Yeah, okay.
I think your friends are angry with me for stealing you.
They'll survive. I could feel their stares boring into my back.
I may not give you back, though, he said with a wicked glint in his eyes.
I gulped. Oh,
He laughed. You look worried.
no, I said, but ridiculously my voice broke. Surprised, actually. What brought all this on?
I told you. I got tired of trying to stay away from you. So I'm giving up. He was still smiling, but his ochre eyes were serious.
Giving up, I repeated in confusion.
Yes, giving up trying to be good. I'm just trying to. I'm just going to do what I want now and let the chips fall where they may. His smile faded as he explained, and a hard edge
Gripped.
crept into his voice.
He lost me again. The breathtaking crooked smile reappeared.
I imagine him looking like a Disney villain when
Literally.
like crooked smile, like a very pronounced like eyebrows and like a crazy smile that goes like from ear to ear, but it's
Literally.
crooked.
Okay, I have to say, being 100 and fucking 18 years old or however the fucking old he is, 121, I don't know. I can see how you would get super full of yourself and like get this persona, or not persona, but like I can see how he's acting like this and like why he thinks it's okay because he is hot, he is superhuman. Like I get it, but it is if Mike was doing this, I'd slap that bitch across the face.
I feel like it's very easy for Edward to feel like the way he does because he's surrounding himself with fucking high schoolers.
Yeah.
And
I'd
yeah,
be pissed off too.
like I feel like I would act like this, if I turned into a vampire right now, but had to be in high school. And
Yeah,
I've
no,
only
thank
got a
you.
couple years. He's got like 90 years of being 17.
It's
That's
so many,
man.
way too many.
Uh, um, Twilight, but it's 17 again.
Love that movie.
hmm hmm
I think that would be
Anyway,
good. We'll pitch it. We'll pitch it.
I like it. A short for us to create.
Yeah,
I
we
think
got
we've
it.
got this.
Okay, so you lost me again. The breathtaking crooked smile reappeared.
I always say too much when I'm talking to you. That's one of the problems. I drew a little heart on my.
Yeah.
It's just so sweet. I feel like that
Oh,
is he really can't like stay away from her. And maybe it
oh.
is because he can't read her mind, but I feel like
No, it can be charming for now. It can be charming for
yeah,
now.
it's charming for
Yeah.
now.
Don't worry. I don't understand any of it, I said wryly.
I'm counting on that.
So, in plain English, are we friends now?
Friends, he mused, dubious.
Or not, I muttered. He's a little freak. He's such a little freak, okay? This whole conversation, he's a little freak.
Yeah, he's just speaking in riddles,
In tongues.
in tongues. He grinned. Well, we can try, I suppose, but I'm warning you now that I'm not a good friend for you. Behind his smile, the warning was real.
You say that a lot, I noted, trying to ignore the sudden trembling in my stomach and keep my voice even.
Yes, because you're not listening to me. I'm still waiting for you to believe it. If you're smart, you'll avoid me.
I think you've made your opinion on the subject of my intellect clear, too. My eyes narrowed.
Which is facts.
He,
He does
he,
all often roast her.
yes. Last chapter, I feel like, or maybe chapter three, he was such a little bitch to her about everything. He's just like it's when he like laughs at her condescendingly, and I'm just like shit like that, where I'm like, bro, chill.
He smiled apologetic. Uh,
You got
he
it.
he smiled apologetically.
So as long as I'm being not smart, we'll try to be friends. I
I sh
struggled to sum up this confusing exchange. Sorry.
no, I'm sorry. That was your line.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's go back a little bit. I think you've made my opinion. You're right. He smiled Why would I go back to that one?
Yeah, you seem to be struggling on that one. It's okay. He smiled apologetically. So as long as I'm being not smart, we'll try to be friends. I struggle to sum up the confusing convers I struggled to sum up the confusing exchange.
That sounds about right.
What are you thinking? He asked curiously. So he says sounds about right, and then she just sits there. Okay, that's what happened.
Yeah.
I was confused.
She's probably insulted a little bit because he just said
Yeah, he
he's
just
a
agreed that she's not that smart, and
yeah.
she's not acting that smart.
Yeah. And then he asks her, "What are you thinking?"
She looks into his deep gold eyes, becomes befuddled, and then she blurted out the truth. I'm trying to figure out what you are.
Keyword what?
What? That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say to someone. His jaw tightened, but he kept his smile in place with some effort.
Are you having any luck with that? He asked in an offhand tone.
Not too much.
Haha, he chuckled. What are your theories?
She had been vacillating between Bruce Wayne and Peter Parker, but there's no way she's owning up to that.
Won't you tell me? He asked, tilting his head to one side with a shockingly tempting smile.
Too embarrassing.
That's
God, they just go
really
on and
frustrating, you know? Yeah, they go on.
on. Okay, this is a good
Some
monologue though. She gets real sassy with it. She goes, okay, so he says, yeah, that's really frustrating, you know? No, I can't imagine why that would be frustrating at all. Just because someone refuses to tell you what they're thinking, even if all the while they're making cryptic little remarks specifically designed to keep you up at night, wondering what they could possibly mean. Now, why would that be frustrating? And then he just fucking smiles at her. He grimaced.
And she continues. She says, say that person also did a wide range of bizarre things, from saving your life under impossible circumstances one day to treating you like a pariah the next. And he never explained any of that either, even after he promised. That also would be very non-frustrating. And he says, you've got a bit of a temper, don't you? Which also for
Hot,
very
hot,
hot, very hot.
hot,
Listen, I've got these neon orange marks. That's for
hot.
hot. And
Yeah.
there's a couple.
She says, I don't like double standards. We stared at each other, unsmiling.
Very sweet.
He glanced over her shoulder and then he fucking snickers, like he's always fucking snickering.
And he says, your boyfriend seems to think, okay, well, I was a little bit sassy there. Your boyfriend seems to think I'm being unpleasant to you. He's debating whether or not to come break up our fight, which is way too specific to be just something that you see in somebody's face.
You don't just say that.
Mm-mm.
And then he fucking snickers again. Stop fucking snickering. I'm sorry. Okay. And then she says, I don't know who you're talking about, I said frostily, but I'm sure you're wrong anyway.
I'm not. I told you, most people are easy to read. Again, I feel like he's really not trying to hide who he is. And I don't know. I remember, as always, I like to go back to the movies, and I remember like in this section of the movie, it's real hot and sexy. I feel like he's wearing sunglasses a lot in it.
He is so hot and sexy. Well, he also literally the page before he says, I always say too much when I'm talking to you. That's one of the problems. So I
Yeah.
also am speculating that that's why he's not sitting with his family because they're fucking pissed at him because
Yes.
he is testing the waters and
Hmm.
getting close to this fucking human being.
Especially with asking her, like egging her on about what he is, I don't know. I think
Yeah,
it's really interesting that he's doing that.
it's very, very interesting. She says, except me, of course.
Yes, except for you. His mood shifted suddenly. His eyes turned brooding. I wonder why that is.
She has to look away because the stare is so intense. She's concentrating on this bottle of lemonade the whole time. She's kind of fiddling with it. And he asks, aren't you hungry? She says, no. You?
Wait, hold on. She says no, and then in her mind, I didn't feel like mentioning that my stomach was already full of butterflies.
It's true. That's true. I shouldn't have left it out.
So sweet.
So sweet. She has such a little fucking schoolgirl crush. It's very sweet. And then he also says, I'm not hungry.
And he has this, like, again, a little inside joke with himself. She says, I didn't understand his expression. It looked like he was enjoying some private joke.
He's so bad at lying. Can you do me a favor? I asked after a second of hesitation.
That depends on what you want.
It's not much, I assured him. I just wondered if you could warn me beforehand the next time you decide to ignore me for my own good, just so I'm prepared. And then again, she's fiddling with the lemonade bottle.
Yeah, I feel bad for her because honestly, that's a pretty
That's
fair
kind of,
request.
that's kind of,
You don't think, you think
I
it's
was gonna say it's,
pathetic?
I was gonna say it's kind not pathetic, not pathetic, okay? But I wish that she was a little bit more confident because she's like looking at her lemonade bottle, fiddling. If she would have been like, hey, if you could warn me next time before you just ignore me for my own good, just so I'm prepared, that'd be great. But she's just like, if you could warn me next time, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being mean. I do feel
Yeah,
bad for her.
no, you're right. Yeah, I feel bad for her.
I mean, he is mesmerizing, and she admits to that. So I get it.
He says, that sounds fair. He was pressing his lips together to keep from laughing when I looked up, which is pretty freaking
So
mean.
mean. He's so mean.
Like, she's already like about to cry just asking him to not not
He
do that again,
sucks.
basically.
He
Yeah, he
fucking
does suck.
sucks.
He sucks. Uh,
Ugh.
he says, Bella says thanks, and he says, "Can I have one answer in return?
One.
Tell me one theory."
Whoops. Not that one.
He persists, oh man, I really like you really do have to keep going. I'm sorry. I keep trying to like go ahead a little bit, but if
You
the
really do
dialogue is
have to
so
keep
like
going. It's
you have
so
like
much. I
it's so
know.
much. So he says, "You didn't qualify. You just promised one answer." He reminded me.
And you've broken promises yourself, I reminded him back.
Burn. Just one theory. I won't laugh.
Yes, you will. I was positive about that. Oh, and this is the moment I said LOL next to this. He looked down and then glanced up at me through his long black lashes, his ochre eyes scorching. No, literally, I'm imagining he's like looks up at her. Like I don't know. He's just so funny to me.
Katie, I
And
think you
then he
killed
says,
that.
well, he goes, please.
I've been watching what we do in the shadows, and like whenever they're trying to persuade somebody, they just like wave their hands in front of somebody. And I feel like for him, he just has to like put on like a smolder and like do like the jaw thing, where he's like, mm, please,
Please, baby girl.
mama.
Come on, baby
I'm
girl. You know
sorry,
you
I'm
want
sorry.
to.
Tell me one theory, Shotty.
But yeah, that is so funny to me. And then she goes, I blinked, my mind going blank. Holy crow, did he do that? Holy crow. Can you please just say holy shit, dog? Can you please just say it?
And why is it not holy cow? I feel like
Holy
that's
crow? That's some fucking Mormon ass bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't even know if it is, but holy crow, just say a curse word. Please, I'm begging you, Stephenie Meyer, please.
maybe they're not allowed to write curse words.
Who knows?
We'll have to really do a
Yeah, we'll
deep
have to
dive
do a
on
deep
that.
dive at some point. That is just so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then they go back and forth. Oh my God. Okay,
She
we should
says,
just
what? Edward says, please, just tell me one little theory. His eyes still smoldered at me.
well, bitten by a radioactive spider? Was he a hypnotist too? Or was I just a hopeless pushover?
That's not very creative, he scoffed.
I'm sorry, that's all I've got.
You're not even close, he teased.
No spiders
Nope,
and no radioactivity?
nope.
Dang.
Kryptonite doesn't bother me either.
You're not supposed to laugh, remember?
He struggled to compose his face.
I'll figure it out eventually, I warned him.
I wish you wouldn't try.
He was serious again. Because
What if I'm not a superhero? What if I'm the bad guy?
Duh.
After we recorded this episode, Katie remembered that this bad guy scene was the same scene as the apple dropping scene in the cafeteria where they recreate the cover. So here's that.
Ella?
Thanks. You know, your mood swings are kind of giving me whiplash.
I only said it'd be better if we weren't friends, not that I didn't want to be.
What does that mean?
It means if you were smart, you'd stay away from me.
Okay, well, let's say for argument's sake that I'm not smart. I can see what you're trying to put off. But I can see that it's just to keep people away from you. It's a mask. Did you tell me the truth?
No, probably not. I'd rather hear your theories.
I have considered radioactive spiders and kryptonite.
It's all superhero stuff, right? What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
You're not.
He smiled
Oh.
playfully, but his eyes were impenetrable.
Oh, I said, as several things he'd hinted fell suddenly into place. I see. Damn, so she's figuring shit out though.
Yeah, she's figuring shit out. And I think it's crazy that he is playing into it. Like, he should have just changed the subject, but he's like, tell me a theory. What do you think I am?
Probably
do you think
hot
I
for
am?
him.
Yeah. I mean, it's hot for me too, so.
And I feel like now we can maybe break it up a bit. She's just like, she's figuring out that he's dangerous. She's like, you're dangerous, but not bad. Shaking her head. No, I don't believe that you're bad.
Yeah. She just has such a big crush on him. She just
Mhm.
can't believe, you're wrong.
And then finally, the fucking bell goes off, and he's like, I'm not going to class today. And she's like, what? He says it's healthy to ditch class now and then. And she's just like, well, I'm gonna go. So she goes to class. He does not go to class. She makes it there before the teacher gets in, and very quickly, she realizes that she fucked up. Because as he gets into the room, Mr. Banner starts unloading like the things that he has in his arms, and it is the blood type lab where you test your blood. So there you have to prick your finger and everything. She goes, the barb was invisible from this distance, but my stomach flipped. So she's not she's like, oh, I'm fucked. And this is
Yeah.
where we find out that she has a fear of blood.
Yep. It says this was graphic, so I wanted to mention it on page 95 when Mr. Banner's, explaining how it goes. He says, "Then I want you to carefully prick your finger with the lancet." He grabbed Mike's hand and jabbed the spike into the tip of Mike's middle finger. Oh no. Just the jab the spike.
Jabbed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I
the
don't
way
like
that
that.
she's seeing it, I know that it's just a tiny little needle and you just prick it. I don't know. I never did this lab,
I don't know
but
my blood type. I was gonna say I don't know it.
I
That's
don't know.
bad, right?
I don't know blood type either, but I feel like it's bad. Like if Bella knows her
I
blood
know.
type, but I guess
I don't
Bella
know.
is better than everybody. So maybe we're just a
Yeah.
Jessica in
But
this
like, what if
world.
something happens? What if I need to be like, doctor, my blood type, it's O negative. It's okay. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think they have like stuff for that. So
Well, if we can test it in our fucking biology class, I'm sure that they can test it at the hospital.
you never know. Maybe all of the testing is done in biology classes.
You're right. I guess
So
I
they
just missed
expect
that
everyone
day.
to know. Yeah. Oh, Katie, are you a vampire?
What? Okay, so Bella immediately starts just being like faint. And
Yeah.
so
she's pressing her face up against the
the black
table and she's just
tabletop, yeah.
sweating and she she says, all around me I could hear squeals, complaints, and giggles as my classmates skewered their fingers.
Jesus Christ. And then the teacher is like, Bella, are you all right? She's like, I already know my blood type. He's clearly like, okay, you're feeling faint. Can someone take Bella to the nurse?
And Mike is
Clearly,
like,
Yeah.
Me. Yeah,
Um,
me.
she says, I didn't even have to look up to know that it would be Mike who volunteered. He literally has no fucking shame. He has no shame.
Why
Mm.
are you so obsessed with me? Well, I'll just read this. Mike seemed eager as he put his arm around my waist and pulled my arm over his shoulder. I leaned against him heavily on the way out of the classroom. Okay, so really close together.
He's loving
And
it.
yeah, so happy. Then, right before they get to the nurse's office, Bella's feeling not good. So, when they're like outside in the campus area,
She literally lays on the cement sidewalk.
yep.
I thought she was leaning up against a wall at first. Like I just that's what I imagined. No, she's on the ground on the sidewalk.
Nope, she says, I slumped over on my side, putting my cheek against the freezing, damp cement of the sidewalk, closing my eyes. That seemed to help a
Damp?
little. Like,
Damp?
she is just, it's
She's down
crazy
bad.
because she hates everything wet. And so the fact that, like, this is gross. Like, I don't know.
Fucking
Obviously, she's
gross.
feeling very faint.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And Mike is like, oh, you're green, Bella.
He said, no, you're exactly right. And then, oh, okay, ready? Bella, a different voice called from the distance. No, please let me be imagining that horribly familiar voice. What's wrong? Is she hurt? His voice was closer now, and he sounded upset. I wasn't imagining it. I squeezed my eyes shut, hoping to die, or at the very least, not throw up. She's so funny.
Mike seems stressed. Bella, Edward's voice was right beside me, relieved now. Can you hear me? No, I groaned. Go away. Very funny, Bella. And Mike's like, I was taking her to the nurse. Edward's like, no, I'm good. I got her. I'll take her. And Mike goes, no, I'm supposed to do it.
He's like
And
a little boy. He's like a 12-year-old boy.
and suddenly Bella is in Edward's arms
He swoops her up off the sidewalk.
as if she
He,
weighs 10 pounds.
okay, let me just read this.
Sorry.
Edward had scooped me up in his arms as easily as if I weighed 10 pounds instead of 110. Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh, shut up, dude. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. Shut up. I literally wrote fuck you in my. Oh, I just weigh 110 pounds, and he picked me up like I was a little fairy, like I just weighed nothing. Because sorry. Fuck you, Bella. Oh. Anyway, she's like, put me down. She just doesn't want to vomit on him. She notes that he literally is carrying her like away from his body, so he's not even like resting her on his like chest or whatever. He's just like so he is truly like a little rag doll.
And
Um,
I think that is crucial because
he's just so
we
strong,
know
obviously.
we
Yeah, we
know
know.
that he's cold. And so if he were to press her up against him, she would realize it more. So he's keeping her away to
Bia, you're so smart. Oh my God.
oh
Oh
my
my
gosh.
God. Okay. And he goes, so you faint at the sight of blood? This seemed to entertain him. She just doesn't answer, and then he says, and not even your own blood. He continued, enjoying himself. He's such a little dick. He gets in the office. He's like, yeah, she fainted.
When he plops her down, she says his eyes were bright, excited, which I think is very funny and weird
It
to
is. It is.
creepy. He's a little creep freak.
A little creepy freaky. Yeah, so they're blood typing in biology, and the nurse goes, there's always one, which I think is funny. And then she's just like, lie down, so blah blah blah, nurse stuff.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you can go back to class now, because Edward's just like laughing in the corner at her. She's like, you can go back to class now. And then he goes, I'm supposed to stay with her. And the nurse just like doesn't even argue it. Like, okay, whatever. She gets her some ice, and then they're just talking back and forth. He goes, you scared me there for a minute.
Yeah, he says, I thought Newton was dragging your dead body off to bury it in the woods.
That is funny. She laughs. And then he says, honestly, I've seen corpses with better color. I was concerned that I might have to avenge your murder.
And yeah, they keep talking about Mike a little bit, and Edward says he absolutely loathes me. And Bella says, you can't know that. I argued. But then I wondered suddenly if he could.
Dun dun dun. I
Okay,
saw his
Bella.
face. I could tell. There's so much fucking dialogue in this chapter.
Yeah, they really chat a lot. And so I don't know, who
Yeah.
knows, maybe I'll cut out some, but I don't know. I think it's very important to
No,
s-
you're absolutely.
I think it's important to note that during this chapter and the previous chapter where they chatted a lot, his eyes are golden because
Mm,
he has
he's in
eaten
love.
and well, it's if it's black, they're hungry, and if it's gold, they've just eaten. But
Mm,
they're a vampire, or sorry, a vegetarian
a
vampire.
vampire.
That's just some little Twilight trivia for you. Bella's sort of questioning, like, how did you even realize I was over there? And he said, I was in my car listening to a CD. And Bella's like, oh my God, that's so hot. And then another guy comes in and he's, looking sickly too. And Edward's like, Bella, leave the room. And she's like, huh? And he's like, leave the room, listen to me. And they
Trust me,
leave.
go.
And
You ever seen The Hunger Games?
I've seen the first one, yeah.
You know that scene where Peeta Mellark is screaming at fucking Katniss, going, "Go, get out of here, go, Katniss, go!" When she's like hallucinating. You're not a Hunger Games person. I
No,
absolutely was.
you'll have to find a video of what the hell you're talking about with the PETA.
I will. I will send it to you. But yeah, that just reminds me of that. So she gets out of there. She goes, I smelled blood. 'Cause she
Hmm.
could smell his little finger prick. And
And Edward says people can't smell blood, which I think is bullshit because I
yeah,
feel like
he's
I could
just
smell blood, you know?
he's
Like,
wrong about that. And she's just like, yeah, it smells like rust and salt. He stares at her with an unfathomable expression. And she's like, what? Mike comes through the door. Edward's just, he gives him a look. She says the look he gave Edward confirmed what Edward had said about loathing. And then he starts chatting with Bella about the the
La
beach,
beach, la
the fucking beach
push,
that he's
baby.
obsessed with. And he's just like, "Oh, are you gonna go this weekend to the beach?" She goes, "Sure." I said I was in. She's just like so, she's just so not wanting to do it. And he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna meet at my dad's store at 10." His body language made it clear that it wasn't an open invitation for Edward.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Mike
Uh,
really seems like he still thinks that he has a chance, which is crazy.
no, he's psychotic.
And then
Hey,
he's like,
Lulu.
see ya in gym, Bella. And Bella's like, oh no, gym class. And Edward says, I could take care of that. And she's like,
Hot.
what? He said, go sit down and look pale. That wasn't a challenge. I was always pale, and my recent swoon had left a light sheen on my face. I was always pale and 110 pounds. Oh.
Yeah. So he goes up to Miss Cope, the like front desk clerk, and his voice was like melting honey. I can imagine how much more overwhelming his eyes would be. So he basically just was like, "Can you excuse her from class?" And then Miss Cope says, "Do you need to be excused too, Edward?" And he's like, "Nope, doesn't really matter." So they end up walking out to the parking lot. He offers to carry her again. He says, "Can you walk or do you want me to carry you again?" His expression became sarcastic. Such a dick.
He holds the door for her, and they go out into the cold. She says, a fine mist that had just begun to fall. It felt nice. This is the first time that Bella has enjoyed weather or rain.
Oh my God, you are so right.
Oh my
Finally.
goodness. I'm so
Fucking
happy for
finally.
her. It only took her almost throwing up.
And then she says, "Thanks. It's almost worth getting sick to miss Jim." Classic.
And then she does try to invite him to La Push, which is sweet.
He's kind of weird
She
about it though.
she's thinking he didn't belong in the same world, which I thought was an interesting point because yeah, he's not from the same world. She invites him to La Push. Uh and he says, "Let's you and I not push poor Mike any further this week. I wouldn't want him to snap."
And Bella says, "Mike Schmike." Which is so funny. And then
And she
she goes,
liked that he said, "you and I," and she liked it more than she should.
So finally, this is kind of okay, this gets me. She goes towards her truck and something caught my jacket, yanking me back. He's crazy for that. Where do you
Where
think
do
you're
you
going?
think
He
you're
asked.
going?
He didn't say it's sexy, Bia. He said it outraged.
Oh, he
Where do you
said,
think you're
"Where do you
going?
think you're going?"
She goes, I'm going home. Didn't you hear me promise to take you safely home? Do you think I'm going to let you drive in your condition?
What condition? And what about my truck?
I'll have Alice drop it off after school. And he was
Mm.
towing her towards the car, pulling her by her jacket. It was all she could do to keep from falling backwards. He'd probably just drag me along if I did anyway.
Oh, because she's so little. And she says, "You're so pushy." And she is trying to keep her dignity, but she is getting totally soaked because her hood is down. And he gets in the driver's seat and he says, "Get in, Bella." And she says, "I was mentally calculating my chances of reaching my truck before he could catch me. I had to admit they weren't that good. I'll just drag you back," he threatened, guessing my plan, which I think is fun, you know.
Yeah, that is cute. And then y'all, it's the moment. Okay, so they did some switching up in the movie. Okay,
Hmm.
so they get in, and then she recognizes the music that's playing. Claire de Lune, I asked, surprised.
You know Debussy?
It's the moment, and
Debussy.
Debussy. They do that in his bedroom in the movie. Obviously, I feel like that's like a very memed scene, but I didn't know that it was in this chapter in the book in this section, which I think is
Yeah.
crazy. And they're just talking about it. He asks because she says, "My mother plays a lot of classical music around the house. I only know my favorite." And then he starts asking about her mother. She starts enjoying the drive.
Yeah, and she's realizing that they're driving really freaking fast. When he asks about her mother, she's like, "Oh, she's so much prettier than me, and she's irresponsible and slightly eccentric, and she's a very unpredictable cook. She's my best friend," which is so sweet.
It was sweet.
She does say talking about her was making her depressed, but I love a good mother-daughter relationship in
Yeah.
media.
And then he goes, "How old are you, Bella?" He seemed frustrated for some reason. I couldn't imagine. And then they were already at the house. He stops the car. They're already at the house. And she goes, "I'm 17," sounding a little confused. "You don't seem 17." His tone was
Which is
reproachful.
creepy a little bit now
I
that like
know.
I'm hearing it. It's creepy.
Yeah, it is a little weird. But then she goes, "My mom always says I was born 35 years old and that I get more middle-aged every year." I laughed and then sighed. Well, someone has to be the adult. I paused for a second. "You don't seem much like a junior in high school yourself," I noted. So a lot going on there.
Yes.
She's been middle-aged since she was born. She is the adult in her home with her mother.
Hmm.
And Edward does not seem like a junior in high school himself.
Yes.
Wow. And then he asks about Phil, and she's like, "Oh my God, I haven't mentioned Phil in 2 months." And he remembers, which is hot.
He listens, okay.
Exactly.
And she's like, "Oh,
There's,
my mom's young for her age. Phil makes her feel even younger." And Edward's like, "Do you approve?" She says, "Does it matter? I want her to be happy, and he is who she wants." That's very generous. I wonder, he mused, what? Would she extend the same courtesy to you, do you think? No matter who your choice was?
whoa,
Because he's thinking about himself because he has a little crush on her too.
exactly. And one thing I did want to know is she's just like she's talking about the kind of partner that like her mom would want. And he was like, "Oh, not one too scary then." And she goes, "What do you mean by scary? Multiple facial piercings and extensive tattoos." Me and
Yes.
Bia we both have multiple facial piercings, and Bia has extensive tattoos. Some tattoos.
And
Extensive, we'll say.
yep, I've been known to be scary.
So Bella would be
Terrifying.
scared of us, particularly you. And then he says, "Do you think that I could be scary?" I thought for a moment, wondering whether the truth or a lie would go over better. Hmm. I think you could be if you wanted to. Fair.
Are you frightened of me now?
No. I don't know. They're
Yeah.
just going back about their family. She's like, "Are you going to tell me about your family now?" And he's like, "What do you want to know?" She's asking about the Cullens. "Did they
Was
adopt you?" Yes. She asked what happened to his parents, which I do feel like is a forward ass question.
That is pretty crazy to ask, but
So she asked what happened to his parents, and he
says they died many years ago. Matter of fact, like.
she's like, I'm sorry. He just doesn't really remember them. And he's like, Carlisle and Esme have been my parents for a long time now. And then
Yeah.
she goes, and you love them, which I think it's cute. She says it wasn't a question, it was obvious in the way he spoke of them, which I think is so sweet.
Yeah. And he
I
says
don't
something
know.
really sweet. He says, I couldn't imagine two better people.
Oh.
And she says he's very lucky. And
He
then,
says,
sorry,
no, I was gonna say he says, I know I am. And I don't know. I thought that was really sweet. Yeah.
it is very sweet.
I'm glad he has some good stuff in there.
Me too. And they are good parents. She asked about his brother and sister, and he just says, oh, they're gonna be mad if I'm not back to pick them up. So I'm gonna go and pick them up, and I'll see you later. And she is like, oh, won't I see you tomorrow? And he goes, no, Emmett and I are starting the weekend early. She says, what are you gonna do? A friend could ask that, right? He says they're gonna go hiking, and she remembers that Charlie said that the Cullens went camping frequently.
And we also know that this weekend they're going to the beach because it won't be raining and it will be sunny.
Yes. Great point, Katie.
In the movie, this is that scene where fucking Jessica's out on the fucking picnic table. She's like, mm. And then they're like, yeah, they usually go camping.
Yeah. The Cullens like disappear whenever the sun comes out.
And then he says, will you do something for me this weekend? Hot.
He turned to look at me straight in the face, utilizing the full power of his burning gold eyes.
He goes, don't be offended, but you seem to be one of those people who just attract accidents like a magnet. So try not to fall into the ocean or get run over or anything, all right?
He smiled crookedly. Pretty crazy.
So she goes, I'll see what I can do. And then she gets out and slams the door behind her with excessive force. Girl, you don't need to do that.
Well, I think, the Volvo wouldn't, it doesn't, it's not going to hurt.
No, she's just so weird for that. Like, why?
And I'll just say he was still smiling as he drove away, which, oh, so cute. He has such a big crush on her. But yeah, that is it. That is chapter 5.
It was a pretty long chapter. It was like 30 pages.
It was long, and the next chapter is chapter 6, Scary Stories, which is we surpassed 100, so page
We
110.
did
Very
it.
exciting.
Well, Bia, what is your like main takeaway from that chapter?
I think my main takeaway from the chapter, do you have one off the top of your head?
I'd say that there's a lot of dialogue.
Yes.
I think that they really got to know each other in this chapter.
Yes.
They did a lot of answering questions, a lot of closeness. He helped her while she was sick. I think there was a lot of
So
like,
sweet.
this felt like a relationship building chapter. Like,
Yes.
they were able to establish a friendship and get to a point where they're talking and he's sharing things about his life and not just like he's being weird, but he's also like flirting. So that's like my takeaway is I'm like they're flirting, they're crushing, things are happening.
Yes, I agree. He is caring for her. So he's like at the end, he's worried about her well-being, and then when she's like with her face on the ground, he is like he sort of comes over like worried. So it's sweet. He has a protectiveness over her. I think we also get a lot of hints as to what Edward might be, which obviously we know, but
Well, it just feels like we're getting closer and closer,
yes.
which is how it feels like in the movie. It's how it like that's the whole point is we're in Bella's head and she's getting closer. So we're getting closer and we're finally going to be in on the joke,
Yeah. And she's very perceptive. I'm really excited for them to go to Seattle. I know that they're going to the beach, and that's not. I just, for some reason, I was hoping that it was going to be this chapter, but that's no, too good to be true.
Sorry, Pookie.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, we did it. Oh, that was such a chapter. I feel like we were just dialoguing it all up.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
but there's so much. You're so right. It's a
it's a lot.
relationship building chapter and
I
it's
know. It's like a,
crazy. And Edward is in such a good mood, so he's so chatty and
you know, I
he
like
wants to
it.
know everything about Bella. So
Oh,
cute.
well, I love you.
I love you.
Do we need to do an outro or something? We love everybody. Thank you for
Mm,
listening.
yes, we do. And thank you for listening.
I'm Katie,
I'm Bia.
and this has been Twilight Tonight.
Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Charlie's gotta make a little song for us. You gotta
I
tell
know,
him.
I know. I will. I'll get him on it. Mwah.
Mwah.
I love
Okay.
you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Recording stopped.
If you liked this episode, leave a rating wherever you're listening and comment below what your favorite part of this chapter was. If you want to follow Edward and Bella's romance, subscribe to Twilight Tonight for more episodes. And hey, thanks.